Hello, how are we doing? So, I found this quest that's a limited time, like 10th anniversary thing. Or not 10th anniversary, but the event is called The Rising. Every year they have it. This is a quest that's only available during that time. And at 3 a.m. tonight, that'll be over. So I need to do this quest now. So, here we go. The determined set of your jaw, the dynamic presence as if you're ever ready to leap into action. There's no mistake, you're an adventurer and a dependable one at that. Tell me, are you familiar with the name Louis Suaz Levenier? Yeah, of course you are. Of course you are. Forgive my suddenness. And Nanaji Nanuji, a budding writer, and I seek to pen a biography of the great man. In particular, I wish to cover his movements leading up to the calamity, and to that end I've requested an interview with the Immortal Flames. He served the Eorzean Alliance as a technician, you see, so there ought to be someone in the Order who had dealings with him. And while my request has thankfully been accepted, there's just one problem. I don't have much experience in conducting interviews, and I'm worried whether I'll be able to do a proper job. As an adventurer, you're doubtless used to dealing with people. Thus, I would like to ask you to accompany me in the capacity of an assistant. It would be tremendously reassuring to simply have you watching on. And if you are amenable afterwards, I'd like to interview you as well of your own impressions. For your troubles, I'll be certain to credit you as a collaborator, so please won't you help me with my biography with the memories of the calamity might be preserved for future generations? I'm in your debt. To begin with, please come with me to Camp Tribron in eastern Thanalan. There's a place I'd like to visit ahead of the interview. There you are, to explain why we're here. Oh, but I haven't asked you your name. How am I supposed to credit you if I don't even know that much? Yosun, the Yosun champion of Eorzea. Small wonder I felt you were dependable. With one such as you helping me, everything will surely go well. But getting back to business, the interview I've arranged is with an officer of the Immortal Flames. As there's still time, however, I thought we'd pay a visit to the nearby graveyard first, so I can explain my motivation for the biography. I come from a small village near the Cartnew Flats. It was burned down in the calamity, and those who died were laid to rest there, my parents along with them. It's hardly an uncommon tale. After the dread primal emerged from Dalmod, he unleashed fiery devastation across the length and breadth of Eorzea. But as much as the calamity has scarred the realm, it is quickly becoming just another event in the history books. Beyond occasionally giving thanks to the Archon that Eorzea was saved, people spare it little thought. But when you've lost so many loved ones, it's hard to feel that anything was saved. That's why I wish to know more about Louis Soir. By learning about his part in Eorzea's salvation, I hope that I will attain closure. That's my motivation for writing the biography. Now then, in preparation for the interview, let's review what is known about our subject. It's difficult to define exactly when the seventh umbral calamity was set in motion. Many historians, however, point to the Empire's meteor project, which sought to bring Dalma down upon Eorzea. Some cool art. It was the years 1562 of the Sixth Astral Era, seeking to combat the Imperial threat. Louis Soir founded the Circle of Knowing, an order whose objective was the preservation of Eorzea. Throughout its members, the Archons of Charlian, the Circle worked to unite the nations of Eorzea in common cause. The result was the formation of the Grand Companies in the three city-states, the Immortal Flames, the Order of the Twin Adder, and the Maelstrom. None of these would exist now were it not for their efforts. And then in year 1572, when the situation was coming to a head, Louis Soir himself made the journey to Eorzea in secret and engaged with each of the nations. What took place during that time is what I seek to learn in the interview. The man we're due to meet is the contact for the 3 Brigade, a unit formed of adventurers, and he apparently had Louis Soir's assistance for a mission. The meeting place is High Bridge to the northeast. It's more or less time now, so let's make our way there. The interviewee should be along any moment now. You're the ones who seek the interview. I must say I wasn't expecting to see the champion of Eorzea. I'm Nanoji, the writer who made the request, and Yo is kindly accompanying me for the interview. I can't thank you enough for taking the time out of your busy schedule to humor me. Come now, no need for thanks. Like everyone, I hold Louis Soir in the highest esteem. If you wish to know about him, Holland Aubrey is always glad to oblige. Without further ado then, let us begin. My understanding is you had dealings with Louis Soir. Could you please tell me the details? As you know, our grand companies were formed thanks to the Circle of Knowing, but it wasn't until Dalmod began turning red that Louis Soir first appeared. It began with the word that an elderly Elsian man had come to Gridania who held the key to vanquishing primals. From learning this, I sent an adventurer of the Free Brigade to make contact with him. I later learned that the Maelstrom and the Order of the Twin Adder had done the very same. At that time, our companies weren't yet collaborating. Each one only thought to stay ahead of the others. If truth be told, at first we didn't think much of Louis, only that he was the leader of scholars who studied peculiar prophecies. But when the adventurer reported back, our opinion of the man completely changed. With his spellcraft, Louis had opened the way into Ifrit's domain, and by the hand of dauntless adventurers, the Lord of the Inferno was brought low. Alas, many defeats preceded that victory. It was reported that countless charred corpses lay strewn in the bowl of embers. Now, the mission also yielded a shocking revelation. Following the battle, Legatus Neo Van Darnus of the Villith Imperial Legion appeared and told the adventurer that the hour of reckoning was at hand, that Dalmod would soon fall and cleanse the land. That was when we realized that the Empire was behind the Red Moon's anomaly. So thanks to Louis, you came to be aware of the Meteor Project. Still, it doesn't seem like you had much to act upon. As you say, afterwards we scrambled to learn all we could about the project. For our blessing, we had the cooperation of a Garlean defector, Sid Garland, whom you well know. He revealed the details of the project, that it utilized a transmission tower to pluck Dalmod from the heavens, all for the purpose of purging us savages from the realm. I could continue telling you what I know, but from this point on there is someone better suited than I am. If you are interested, I would be glad to introduce you to this individual. What say you? Well now, we'd be keen to speak with this person indeed. Very well, I will send word to the Adder's Nest. If you could take yourselves to Aku Falls, I will arrange for a meeting there. To go to such lengths to help us, I cannot say how grateful I am. Do not mention it. As I said, I hold Louis Suisse in the highest esteem. He was the one who brought our three nations together, and nothing would please me more than for him to be remembered. Well, it's past time I return to Old Da. I pray that the coming interview bears you fruit. The lieutenant certainly has great respect for Louis Suisse. And thanks to him, we have another promising interview. Come, let's head to Gridania, where the Archon has sojourned. So this is Apku Falls. The conspicuous lack of creatures aside, it's quite a beautiful place. Now then, the person we're to meet should be along shortly. I was told there were those who wished to learn about Louis Sois, and who should one of them be but the champion of Eorzea. Well met. I am Lieutenant Cyro Fluke of the Order of the Twinatter. Nanoji, at your service. Thank you for sparing the time to speak with us. Think nothing of it. I must say, though, that Lieutenant Aubrey chose the perfect spot for the subject matter. Louis Sois spent much time in rumination here in the days before the calamity, we Grenadians being somewhat reserved by nature. At first the citizens kept their distance. But in time people warmed to him. He patiently lent an ear to their troubles, healing hurts and offering counsel, and gradually earned their trust. To ignore the plight of those one might conceivably save is not wisdom, it is indolence. Louis Sois spoke these words and lived up to them. He was the epitome of a Charlene sage, and I recall myself being moved. Now, shortly after we had become aware of the Meteor Project, the hamlet of Korimel was attacked by the primal Garuda. Both soldiers and civilians were amongst the casualties. The Order of the Twinatter moved to vanquish the primal, but we were not alone. Through Louis Sois' meditation, we had the support of not only our sister grand companies, but capable adventurers the realm over besides. Using an artifact known as the Vortex Feather, the Archon opened the way for a band of adventurers to sally forth into Garuda's turbulent domain, where they felled the fearsome being. Upon her defeat, however, the primal's dispersed aether did not return to the land. Instead, it was absorbed into the Red Moon Delmod. And when the Empire constructed a new base in Mordona, the elder Seedseer saw the need for decisive action and put forth a proposal. The formal reformation of the Eorzean Alliance, which had for so long laid dormant. The initial response from the other nations was lukewarm at best. They felt that the burden to be borne by each party was excessive, and they were loath to do aught that would place them at a disadvantage against their rivals. But the revelation that a lunar transmitter had been erected in the Imperial base prompted a change of heart. The tower controlled Dalmon's descent. If it could be destroyed, then the Meteor Project would be forestalled. After having constantly been on the back foot, our nations were motivated to join hands that we might strike a decisive blow against the enemy. Thus was the Eorzean Alliance reformed, as the Circle of Knowing had hoped. At the same juncture, Louis Sois was asked to join the Alliance as a tactician. and in that capacity, he provided sage counsel to our heads of state. So, although he was first treated with wariness, Louisva earned our trust through his actions and paved the way to enduring cooperation between our nations. Indeed, were it not for him, we all would have perished divided. We owe Louisva a great debt. Now then, I expect he might be interested in hearing about the operation to destroy the lunar transmitter. But before that tale, I would recommend you seek out another, a decorated soldier who actually took part in the operation. Although a hardened warrior, she is quite friendly and should be glad to regale with you her experiences. Shall I send her word on your behalf? We'd be duly grateful. Very well, if you could take yourselves to Maelstrom Command in Limsa Limonza, I shall see to it that she knows to expect you. With that, I shall take my leave. I pray that the biography is a success. Everyone has been more helpful than I had dared to hope. It seems Louisva had quite an influence on others. That interview gave us some valuable insights into his character, and I'm eager to see what we learn in the next. Come, let's head to Limsa Limonza. And there it is, Maelstrom Command. Shall we then? Sergeant Sun, ever a sight for sore eyes, and you must be Nanaji. Rashat Riki at your service. I understand you wish to hear about the operation to destroy the lunar transmitter. Indeed, I'm penning a biography of the Archon Louisva, you see, for which I'm interviewing people who had dealings with him. I truly appreciate your time. You're very welcome. I would be glad to assist even if it wasn't a request from Lieutenant Folke. Now then, to continue where we left off, it was shortly after that Eorzean alliance was formed. Our scouts returned with the word that Lilith Legion had activated the lunar transmitter in their fortress in Mordona. Now known as Castrum Century, the fortress was originally called Castrum Novum before the 14th restored and named it. It was in order to break through its defenses and destroy the transmitter that our three nations joined hands, and we were determined to succeed. The strategy that Louis proposed was elegant in its simplicity. While our main force drew the Garleans' attention with an all-out siege, an elite band of adventurers would infiltrate the castrum and make for our objective. We had entrusted adventurers with ridding us of the primals. Now we entrusted them with the very fate of Eorzea. I still remember the operation as if it were yesterday. Though we met with fierce resistance, we fought more fiercely still. No matter the cost, we had to ensure that the adventurers had a chance to strike at the transmitter. And when the messenger arrived bearing a word that they had succeeded, it still makes my heart sore to recall that moment of triumph. That day, we learned that by standing together, the people of Eorzea could oppose even the might of the Empire. 'Tis no exaggeration to say that the victory paved the way for Eorzea's future. Without it, there would not have been an Operation Archon. Alas, it wasn't all glad tidings, for though we destroyed the transmitter, Nael Van Darnus appeared and claimed that he no longer needed the device to bring down Dalmod, that he himself had the power to do so. So long as Van Darnus lived, the threat of the destruction remained, and so, granting him an enemy to all life in Eorzea, the nations of the Alliance undertook a desperate manhunt. At length they located him in Corthias and sent their greatest warriors to hunt him down. Leading that formidable band was the adventurer whom they called the Warrior of Light, and though no records remain of this fierce encounter, one thing is certain. At battle's conclusion, Nael Van Darnus was brought low. As you know, however, our woes did not end with the White Raven, for Louis and his disciples determined that Dalmod would continue to fall. In a last-ditch bid to prevent the realm's annihilation, the Circle of Knowing issued a request to the Eorzean Alliance to secure the Cartnu Flats where the Red Moon was expected to crash. 'Twas no simple task, for the entirety of the 7th region had amassed in Cartnu, but it was necessary in order to perform a ritual to stop Dalmod, a ritual that invoked the power of the 12. So it was that the Battle of Cartnu was joined, and I dare say you know how the tale continues. To everyone's shock, the Elder Primal Bomb emerged from Dalmod and proceeded to unleash its fury upon the realm. And though all bore witness as Louis initiated the ritual, none remembered what came to pass afterwards, neither what happened to Bahamut, nor why the realm was reborn. The haze that afflicted memories of the calamity, but people remember events prior to that moment, yes? If so, do you know if anyone was near Louis during the battle? Someone who may have spoken with him? If someone was near him, I'm afraid I do not know. He was atop a rise for the ritual while I was a good distance away on the front lines. My apologies. No, please don't apologize. You shared a wealth of information and I couldn't ask for more. Well, if you're satisfied, then so am I. With that, I shall return to my duties. I look forward to reading the biography when it's finished. Now I have a grasp of events leading up to the calamity, and yet Oh, forgive me, I was deep in thought, no small part due to your help. I've managed to learn a great deal, but there is still more that I wish to know. Might I trouble you to accompany me a little longer? If you're willing, please let me know. You'll continue accompanying me then? Wonderful. Come, let's head to the Drowning Wench to discuss our next move. Our research proceeds apace so far. We've even learned things not found in literature. But tell me, based on what you've heard from our interviewees, what is your opinion of Louis Soir? You had a difficult task. Indeed, from an imperial investigation to rampaging primals to nail Van Darnus' scheme, he had to contend with the toughest of problems. What struck me was how grateful the interviewees were to Louis Soir for bringing their nations together in cooperation. It was nothing short of necessary for our survival. Yet, in knowing this, I can't help but wonder, in his capacity as a tactician, it seems to me he had done more than enough by devising a plan and facilitating its execution. He went far beyond that, risking life and limb on the front lines for a land not his own. Perhaps he needed to be there for the ritual. Perhaps he felt a sense of duty. Even so, as noble as it is to desire to help others, what good is it if you end up sacrificing yourself? What was it that compelled Louis Soir to go to Carteneau, and what went through his mind as the battle unfolded? In order to do his biography justice, I feel I need to know these things. If Louis Soir had people near him at the time, perhaps he shared words with them in his final moments. Words that could provide some insights. But where to begin searching for such individuals, assuming they exist? Sorry, friends, but I couldn't help but overhear your conversation. Just so happens I know a bloke has served among Louis Soir's guard at Carteneau. Truly, you know someone who was with him. Aye, and far as I'm aware he wasn't keeping the fact a secret. Just for your good measure though, why do ye want to speak with him? Louis Soir's biography, eh? In that case, I reckon the book would be willing to cooperate. Orn Gusium's is a name and was a lieutenant of the Maelstrom. After the calamity turned to adventuring so as to be greater help to the common folk. A Maelstrom officer turned adventurer, we'd be most keen to speak with him. Where might he be found? When Orn dropped in the other day, he said he had business at the Morby dry docks. If you're lucky, might be he's still there. Understood. We're in your debt. We can't let this chance pass by, yo. Let's take ourselves to the dry docks at once. Okay. Anyway. Right, where could Orn be? In hindsight, we should have asked what he looks like. His name would suggest he's a Midlander, but, well, nothing for it but to make inquiries. Let's split up for the task and meet again here. I'm sorry, but I've only just started helping out here. I'm still learning our customers' names. I couldn't say if it's the person you're after, but a man did come by earlier who appeared to be an adventurer. He bought a Nemea lily that we're currently trailing. Looking for an Gudensum, you say? Don't know anyone by that name, I'm afraid. I did walk by an unfamiliar fellow just now, though, over by the mark of the spinner. He had a flower in his hand, so he caught my eye. Orn, as it happens, I spoke with him just earlier. He said that he wanted to buy flowers, so I directed him to a vendor. Not sure where he is as of now, though. You have an inkling as to where Orn might be. Time to rejoin Nanaji. There you are, Yo. Were you able to learn anything? So, a man who could be Orn bought a Nimel lily, then went to the mark of the spinner. If we hurry there, we might be able to find him. Let's go. If he was only just seen, he should still be nearby. Begging your pardon, sir, but are you Lieutenant Orn Gunsium? I haven't been a lieutenant for years, but that's me. What can I do for you? Oh, he looks like Thancred. I realize this is sudden, but so you're writing Louis Suave's biography and want to hear my account as someone who was near on hand at Cartonu. There must be a reason that you're here too. Warrior of Light who led us to victory in Operation Archon. Very well, I will tell you my tale. Now then, where to begin? As you know, the battle was fought over the land where Dalmud was expected to fall. In the beginning, neither side was able to gain the upper hand, but when the Imperials destroyed their Magitech armor, our ranks were thrown into disarray. Those charged with protecting Louis Suave like me could only watch the carnage from afar, and though our forces managed to hold out, thanks to the adventurer contingent, we sustained grievous casualties. But the real tragedy was that what followed. As Dalmud hurtled towards us, it began shedding fragments of itself before finally bursting open to unleash the primal Bahamut. As all below looked on in shock, the battle completely forgotten, Bahamut took wing and spewed fire all over the land. Men and magic tech armor alike were set ablaze and sent flying like so many insects. I only realized that I had stopped breathing when a commanding voice broke my trance. You've done enough, Louis Suave told us. Now fly, fly and save yourselves. But like my fellow guards, I wanted to remain. I couldn't charge into battle beside my comrades. At the very least, I would do my duty here and protect Louis Suave to the last. But upon seeing us standing there, not making to move, Louis Suave smiled and spoke thus. If you would give your lives to protect something, then protect my hopes. Every soul who lives to determine their own fate is a source of hope, bright and brilliant. So live, I bid you, and be among those who bear the light for others to follow. Those words awakened us to a greater purpose. If there was hope in my living, then I would live as Louis Suave bid. No matter what, I would survive. And so, together with my fellows, I began making my retreat. Alas, we hadn't gotten far when an explosion erupted and sent us sprawling. I struggled to my feet just in time to see the enormous, menacing silhouette of Bahamut looming over Louis Suave. In the next instant he was enveloped in light, and that was the last I remember of him. Louis Suave's final moments. Amidst the light, he looked to be smiling. What he was thinking in that moment I couldn't say, but one thing is certain. We all of us are alive thanks to him. Following the calamity, it was reported that Louis Suave had defeated Bahamut and set about the land's miraculous regeneration. Do you believe this is the truth? Every soul who lives to determine their own fate is a source of hope. What we've learned has reaffirmed my belief, Yo. The belief that Louis Suave was not an all-powerful savior one reads about in tales, but merely an ordinary man. But that man never forsook Eorzea. No, he stood for the realm to the last. He and countless other brave souls, and saved it from becoming a scorched waste. Against unimaginable adversity he fought, and at the cost of his life paved the way to a brighter future for us all. The least I can do in return is tell his story, spread his message that where there is life, there is hope. Thanks to your account, I believe I found an angle for the biography. I'm truly grateful. Would you care to offer a prayer as well? A prayer that the light of hope which Louis Suave preserved shall ever burn bright. Out of nowhere. The calamity left deep scars across the realm. There was no place that did not want for help to rebuild. After being saved by our twin adder allies, I decided to become an adventurer. The better to honor Louis Suave's legacy and lend aid to those in need. During my travels, I often hear your tales, and I'm glad I could share my own with you. Allow me to thank you again for recounting your experience to us. Nay, 'tis I who owes you thanks for giving me the chance to share Louis Suave's words. All these years I had avoided speaking of the moment of his passing out of respect, but it would not do to take the tale to my grave. Through the biography, it is my hope that his spirit will live on in all of us. Now then, if you'll excuse me, I shall resume my pilgrimage to the marks. Wherever your travels take you, I shall be praying for your safety. Nema lilies, the symbol of safe passage. As Louis Suave stood there in Cartanu, I wonder if he likewise prayed for someone's safety. At any rate, these interviews have yielded everything I had hoped for and more. Come, let's return to Ul'dah. I'll have your reward for you at Ul'dah at the Hall of Flames. Come on, game. There we go. Meow. Okay. There you are. I ended up troubling you longer than I had intended, but it was a truly fruitful series of interviews. How fortunate that we could hear from those who lived that fateful time. While I still have many questions, the biography is beginning to take shape in my mind. I also feel as though I've attained a measure of closure. Louis Suave fought simply as one of us, and he made the ultimate sacrifice that hope might endure. This I've come to realize and appreciate thanks to everyone's heartfelt testimonies. Now then, last but not least, I'd like to ask you for your thoughts on something. According to Orn, Louis smiled in his final moment. As he was enveloped in light, what do you imagine he held in his mind? I see, I see. I appreciate your thoughts. As I pen the biography, I'll be certain to remember your words. Well, sad though it is, it's time for us to part ways. I'll set to work on a draft, and I won't rest until the biography goes to print. Thank you for all your help, my friend. I couldn't have come this far without you. Nice. Okay, how long have I been streaming for? Probably not very long. Oh, an hour. Okay, well, I'm gonna call it here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.